I wanted to have children from the day we got married.
And I was thinking it would be worthwhile to wait. Okay, so what do we need in order to make a smoothie? Do we need bananas?
Yeah.
All right.
Can I put a banana in there?
All right. Ready? Here it goes. Like that. You like to watch it trip? Oh, careful of your head there. Are you a good chef?
I'm not chef. I'm Superman.
His office was a mile from the school that I was teaching at, which
so convenient, not planned that way, but so convenient.
Worked out really nicely, and we were both single and just well established and doing our thing and in the right place and the right time to, I think, start our love story. So he'd come over and he'd have sandwiches with us, and then my teacher friends, I remember, they were like, "Jenny, come on." And I'm like, "No, it's Matt, we're just friends." And they just kept teasing me about it until one day he said, "Hey, let's go and let's go for a hike after work." And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds fun." We had been doing that before, and so we're just walking along and talking about our day, talking about nothing special, and so, like, he just breaks in with, "And I have every intention of dating you," and it shocked me.
She was shocked.
It
was one of those like deflating experiences. Like, I'm gonna tell her everything I've always wanted to tell her, and then she's gonna respond with, "I've always wanted to say the same thing." And instead, she responded with,
I was totally caught off guard. I was not ready.
Shouldn't we be friends?
Well, I said, "Yeah, but let's take it slow." You know, I was doing that whole thing. We were on vacation with his family, and it felt familiar. And so I think for me, that feeling of this is how it's supposed to be really kind of solidified that this is what forever should look like.
To me, marriage is a lifelong commitment that isn't to be broken between two people who love each other so much that they want to spend the rest of their life together.
It was about 8 months into our first year of marriage, and really practically, the practical side of me again came out, and I said, "You know, we should have a doctor who, just like a family doctor." So we found this one doctor, and he went in for his physical, and a week later I went in for mine, and I had been really tired. And so I just kind of mentioned it to the doctor, and he was like, "Oh, okay, for how long?" I'm like, years, you know, and I was only 25, so I was like, I don't feel like I should be this tired. You know, what's gonna happen when I'm like 70? I'm not gonna be able to do anything. And so he, did a few blood tests, and let's take a look at this. Well, one of the blood tests came back with a marker that was surprising. So, which neither of us expected, I think.
Mm-hmm. I think we just looked at each other like, well, we're 25. What can happen? And
yeah. So he sent me for some more tests, and kind of after a couple of different tests, they found a nodule on my thyroid. And the thyroid is in your neck, and so they wanted me to get that tested. So they sent me in for a biopsy, and that actually had to happen a couple of different times, but I ended up at this really great doctor down at USC, and so they did the biopsy, and he had told me in his last visit with me that and I remember the moment so clearly that he looked at me and he said, "You know, Jenny," he's like, "I am pretty sure that this is cancer, but let's be sure." and, you know, just wait till we get the tests back. And Matt happened to be out of town. He was traveling for business, and so I called, and he was on the plane.
So I landed, and there was a message on my phone, and it was Jenny, and I could tell she had been crying, and she needed me to call right away. So there I was, and it must have been a late flight because it was just an empty airport terminal. And I called her, and she said the doctor called, and it's cancer. And I was dumbfounded. It was a moment I still am speechless about what went through my mind. At that moment, I thought of how much I felt protective, that, you know, whatever this was, we were gonna rip it out of her body so that it wouldn't be there anymore, because nothing can attack my wife. That's not allowed. And then I thought, I'm still so far away. I mean, I've been on an airplane, and now I have a 45-minute drive. And how am I going to get there fast enough to just hold her? And I did.
Yeah. So those moments, I think, were really scary. God has a purpose for my life, and whether it's gonna come through this or whether, you know, this will be the end of it, it's all part of God's plan, and what I know is that it's perfect, and I can trust that. And so that, I know is what got us through those first months and those first moments, and we leaned on that good will come of this, whatever that good might look like.
Yeah, it was hard to know what that good would look like. So we know that we needed to praise the Lord, whether cancer took Jenny from us or whether cancer was just something that she would overcome. Trials produce perseverance in our lives, and I feel like because of the trial of Jenny's cancer and other trials that we've gone through, we can persevere in our marriage in a different kind of way. And so the foundation and the groundwork has been laid for us to be successful because of those trials. And it's hard to see the forest through the trees, so to speak, when you're in those trials. But those trials really have made us better in our marriage, in our love for one another, and in our walk with the Lord. I guess it's weird to say we'd like cancer again, or we're thankful for cancer, but we're better off having had it as a part of our life and marriage.
We were feeling like we were ready to get our family started, and I just assumed wrongly that I had my trial, that it had come and gone, and we wouldn't have to deal with anything else that might be hard or disappointing. But the Lord had a different plan, and had us wait for almost 2 years before I got pregnant with our first. And that was just such a really fun day to find out that that we would have a little person joining our family. The moment he arrived, I remember Matt said, "It's a boy," and the nurse, this chokes me up thinking about it, she looked at me and she said, "Look at your son," and it was incredible, and he has changed our lives forever.
One of the things that we think is really important is to just teach our children to reflect on what the Lord has given them in a day. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
So with Cooper, now that he's able to communicate, we sit down and say, so what was your favorite thing today? Of all the things you did today, what was your most favorite?
Coming to the library.
He loves it. It's a moment he just loves.
And he always kind of surprises us too with some of the things, like the things I think, like, that was really fun. He's totally gonna say that. And then he
doesn't say it.
Else.
It's like, you went to Disneyland today. But your favorite thing was actually when you got to play make-believe in your room. I mean, it's so funny what he chooses.
This year, actually, one of our goals that we set up back on our anniversary was to carve out some true family time where we make sure we disconnect from the world and everything else we have going on. And so we've gone to the beach and, you know, made sure we put our toes in the sand and you know, moved the coffee table and wrestle on the carpet and make smoothies or start family traditions. So just to create these moments as a family that he'll remember and that will remind him that we love each other. You know, we care.
We do.
I'm Superman.
You are Superman.
Of course you are.